Polls have not been going great for Trump recently, and perhaps as a result of that, his campaign has some new ad spending planned. They've been doing this for a bit, actually. Over the past month, the Trump campaign has spent slightly more than $400,000 on cable news ads in the Washington, D.C. area, buying time largely on Fox News, but with some smaller buys on CNN and MSNBC as well, which strikes a lot of people as odd, that you're running these ads in a place where you don't have voters, and some of it you can't even have voters, and you're running them on Fox News, where universally the people are going to support you anyway. It seems weird. Now, the campaign says that the ad buys were an attempt to reinvigorate and reassure the president's supporters in the nation's capital, which is blatantly false. But two knowledgeable sources, one, a Trump campaign advisor, I love that his campaign advisors are leaking, and the other, an individual close to the president, said the DC area ads have another purpose, to put the president himself at ease. That as he's grown more and more distraught over his odds of re-election, they want to reassure him that they're fighting hard. Not by talking with him, but by running ads so that he'll see them. Because he's always watching TV, so he'll come across them. And he's been seeing ads from the Lincoln Group and things like that, and just getting so mad that they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to run ads for the candidate himself. I've literally never heard of this happening before.
It's hard to fathom just how much of a baby he is. Just everything that we've talked about, with the reaction to protesters and the story around him inspecting the bunker so that they resorted to a fascist, aggressive display of power. And to now this, his ego's hurt. He sees other commercials on TV. Now he wants his own commercials. I mean, this guy is I know resistance libs really delve into this, but he behaves like a child. He's just temperamental. He's reactionary. He's got a super fragile ego. And this is the consequence of him being surrounded by yes men and yes women his entire career. He's surrounded himself from people who will just agree with him and kind of affirm him with every decision. And this is the consequence. This is how it manifests. A president who just needs to see his own commercials on TV because he's sad.
Yeah.
I wonder, what a world.
Exactly. I mean, I guess they're going to raise so much money that I suppose they can afford to waste a few $1 million to keep him, placated with Fox News ads and things like that. It is interesting, though, that for all that I hear about the fact that the right's best at memeing, you always hear Benny Johnson and stuff say that hey, we got the memes. None of their ads have taken off. I mean, sure, Trump will retweet some his face plastered on the Swamp Thing or something, and that owns us. I never get that, but in terms of the actual ads, those Lincoln Group ads and Move On's ads and others have been so devastating to him over the past few months, with Biden being a candidate who's had so many flubs and weird misstatements and all of that, they don't seem to either have the will or the ability to put together something to counter on the substance the ads that are hitting him.
Yeah, I mean, they've tried before. They tried to hit him during the primary on Biden not remembering things and stuff like that, but none of it really seemed to stick or get the traction that others we've seen on the left have. So you got to question what their operation looks like and how efficient it is. I think for a lot of people it's just kind of a huge payday, and they're just cashing in and assume that being an incumbent will help him get across the finish line.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing really innovative or exciting on the right that I'm seeing from the Trump campaign.
In terms of cashing in, I'm glad that you pointed that out, because the thing is, he's temperamental. He turns on people if he thinks that they're failing him or they're not loyal. I mean, we saw he was briefly apparently attacking Pascal because his polls were bad, as if Pascal could do anything about that. So if you're making ads for him, and you have a choice between making effective ads and running them in swing states, or making ads specifically designed to make him happy and running them in places he'll see them, I mean, are you really going to run the more effective ads somewhere else if that leads to you getting fired because he's angry randomly? No, you'll probably do what's necessary to keep your job. And that is no way to run a campaign. It's by no means a death knell for him. He could still do very well. He's still going to raise a ton of money. But you can't have your campaign running with the sole purpose of trying to make you feel good about things. It needs to be effective. And he is undercutting that, apparently.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.